What is up, everybody? It is the Big Dog coming at you with his version, my version, of the Dino Fury Episode 1 review. So, Gazbot and I originally had plans on doing this separately, but together in a sense where he was going to record, I was going to record, we were going to put our answers together, so it was kind of in sync. But due to unforeseen technical difficulties, for some reason, he was able to watch the episode yesterday in the morning, and for whatever reason, on my account, I could not until the evening. So it is now the day after, and I watched it last night, and we're about to dive in based on some of the kind of topics that Gazbot and I had talked about. So starting off with the songs and credits. Credits, I thought, showed some cool stuff. I don't like the song at all. Not even a little. I would say probably a 3 out of 10. I'd have to listen to Mystic Force again, but I might prefer that over this, and I really don't like the Mystic Force theme. So, just getting that out of the way, not a huge fan of the song. Beast Morphers was significantly better, and I don't need to dwell on that too much, but there's that. Next is the environment. So we see that a lot of what the Ranger aspects are going to take place for is Dinohenge. I don't remember the name of the city, but it's another generic name of like something Pine Oaks or something. Seems fine, but Dinohenge kind of being where the dinosaur stuff takes place, I think is pretty cool. Like upon initial glance, before we find out more, I think it looked interesting. Kind of a take on Stonehenge, but with dinosaurs. So I thought that was cool, and definitely liked the different statues that they had there. So overall, I thought that was a cool little setting for this first episode, and hopefully more. Basic premise. So right now, what we know is that it leads on the Pink Ranger, who works for essentially BuzzFeed. It's Buzz something, but I remember it's pretty much BuzzFeed. So she writes articles. She really wants to see about the ghosts of Dinohenge, and kind of convinces her manager to let her go study upon it. So kind of find that out, and then we meet the Blue Ranger, whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head, Ollie. So Ollie and his mom, who's I believe a paleontologist of some kind, are also out there studying it, and they run into each other and are both trying to, just find out the secrets of Dinohenge and things like that. So one thing I want to make a note of is it's really interesting that right out of the gates, we're seeing kind of like traditional supporting rangers get a lot of the spotlight before Red Ranger, which I think is really cool and kind of a setup we don't see too often. So I really liked that, and some shenanigans happen. They end up finding out more about Dinohenge, and from there we see why Dinohenge is there, why it's important, kind of what brought things about. They go back 65 million years, so predating a lot of other Ranger stuff, which is interesting how it will hopefully tie everything together. So overall, basic premise, I liked it. Villain, so far we see Void Knight is the main villain. He is essentially an opposite of what we can tell from the Rangers. He has a sword that's pretty much the same as theirs, but it's just different colors. He has the same aesthetic. He's really cool. I get vibes of a little bit of Ecliptor, a little bit of Zeltrax from Dino Thunder, and overall I really like it. Obviously, with him being purple, he looks a lot like Korag, but I think he's a little less off-putting initially as Korag. Korag, I think, came in out of the gates a little hotter, where being able to see kind of where Void Knight's coming from and what he wants. I liked it in this episode, and then he turns the... I apologize in advance. So many of these names I'm forgetting, and I just know in the comments, everybody's like, "What? It's clearly this. Come on, how could you forget? It's so simple to remember." And I apologize. But the something Knights, the henchmen that are supposed to be working for the Rangers, and then Void Knight gets them. God, it's gonna bug me. I'm sorry. I know you guys are gonna tell me in the comments, but I'm sorry that I don't remember. But that was a cool little twist where things that originally were meant to be for the Rangers ended up with the Void Knight. So I'm going to count them as villains for this kind of question. And I thought it was really cool. A way that they kind of had to, figure out ways of using their own kind of technology against them. was definitely interesting. So the humor, I thought the humor was definitely mild in this episode, but pretty, flat across the board. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible. There were a couple jokes I think I laughed at, but for the most part, it's less in your face than I think Beast Morphers was, which I also appreciate a little bit just because it focuses on the story without having to be too slapstick, where in Beast Morphers, the slapstick comedy was either great or terrible, and I'd prefer meeting in the middle of kind of not having both versus either failing miserably or winning fantastically in that aspect. So humor overall I thought was fine. It was kind of baseline. Don't really have a lot to say about that. The powers. So the powers are applicable. We put if applicable for this, but the powers are for sure applicable. So we find out that Ollie and Amelia, the Pink Ranger, I don't know if I've said her name yet, are down in Dinohenge. Turns out it's this big old secret base that's been there forever. Solon is kind of the Alpha 5 of this season so far, is kind of the keeper of it. And she's down there. She's been trying to wake up the Red Ranger right now, trying to get him to help. He seems to be in some kind of stasis. And while he's still in stasis, Amelia and Ollie just kind of take action and start to fight Void Knight, and then also the henchman. Oh, henchman! That's what it was. Henchman. Okay. Now I remember. I'm not even going to give myself a Ninja Steel point because I should remember that. Henchman, also a great name. So they start fighting. They have the Dino Fury sabers, is what I guess I'm going to call them, on the wall, and they just straight take them on and just start fighting and kind of taking charge, which I really liked. And then finally, Solon takes Red Ranger out of stasis. He's already morphed up. He's just like starts fighting for a little bit, and then after taking out a couple of henchmen, it's like, wait, why am I fighting the henchmen? What's going on? Which I appreciated humor-wise, just because like he just got straight to action, and then after that was like, oh wait, what's happening? I noticed somebody was fighting, and thought I would hop in. So, yeah, really cool stuff with the power so far. We just really see that they have the sabers. They, have enhanced fighting abilities with the Ranger powers, which we've seen a lot of big acrobatics and things like that. So, yeah, overall the powers seem cool. Obviously, we don't know a lot about what's going on with them, so that's fine. We're definitely going to find out more. But for episode 1, I think they did a good job setting up these powers and kind of seeing where it came from of, hey, this is the Red Ranger whose name I'm forgetting, I'm about to look up, Zato. So he's 65 million years old. He and his team of Rangers, along with Solon, were fighting against these like alien spores, essentially, that turn into big monsters. And they teamed up with the dinosaurs to fight against them. And then the Morphin Masters came, gave them Power Ranger powers, and was like, hey, you guys have powers now. Let's, get it going. And I really like that because we've seen the Morphin Masters. I think in Mighty Morphin, definitely seen them in the comics. They definitely are a big overarching force with the powers. So it's cool that kind of sets up how they're going to tie the rest of Power Rangers together, which I think is really awesome now that E1 is in charge and they have plans to kind of get everything, synchronized. That was really cool. So powers-wise, background-wise on that was awesome. Next one, which is a little more for me than Gazbot, but Red Ranger last season versus this season. I already like Zato better than Devin. Nothing against Devin. Devin had an interesting kind of first arc in the first 2 episodes. Nothing to diminish from him on, stumbling upon Grid Battle Force and going in there and fighting and then ending up with powers. Zato, I think, is just really cool. Like, he's a more interesting character so far. He was a Ranger millions of years ago, and he's an alien, and he's out of stasis. He's already, about business of, oh, you guys are the new Power Rangers? Great. Hey, I'm Zato. Let's fight the bad guys and let's get things going. And I definitely got positives of Zane and Andros from In Space, but without kind of like, at least so far, the arrogance that Andros had, and kind of the standoffishness where Andros was definitely a lot more like scorned and reserved because he had lost his team, whereas Zato's like, my team's gone. It really is unfortunate that we had to win, quote unquote, that battle at their expense. But I really am all about just protecting this planet. and I want to make sure that, I need to do what I can to take care of that and not dwell on some of the unpleasantries of kind of what happened with my team, which I think is cool. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw images of Zato, these weird little antenna things, I thought it was going to be really dumb. And I was pleasantly surprised that it made perfect sense with the story. And everything about it was cool. The only not big, but one plot hole is like, how you're 65 million years old. How are you speaking English? Like when we had Dino Fury or Dino Charge, geez, so many dinosaurs. Dino Charge Blue Coda, who was a caveman, who supposedly, I'd have to check the exact times, but I'm assuming is younger than him and just spoke caveman. So who knows? A minor thing, easy to explain away. There was a thing, I think it relates to the powers, where they just like, I think it was with Blue and Pink Ranger, where they got the powers, and there was like one or two lines they said that like really helped just wash away any confusion or plot holes and like explain things away. I'm kicking myself for not writing it down. Apologies, guys. As you can see, I'm not at home. I am out for Mrs. Big Dog's birthday, so apologies for not being more prepared, but the little nuances like that, I really appreciated and kind of set the stage of like, okay, you guys are taking this a bit more seriously. It's still family oriented in all ages, but it's definitely, I think going to go in a good direction. So, but for the actual question, because I rambled and got sidetracked, so far I like episode to episode, I prefer Zato to Devin, but that could change. So we'll see. We still got plenty of episodes left. Next is my overall thoughts on production. I thought production was good. Like they had a lot of cool stuff. I definitely didn't feel like anything was forced, like scenery wise, or like I feel like they didn't put too much unnecessary stuff in production. Like everything kind of made sense. I don't think there was any like wasted production beats of like that was here and it looks like it costs a lot of money, but it didn't serve any purpose. Like for the most part, I thought everything was really cool. One thing, sorry, I keep, actually no, I will wait. Sorry, forget I even said anything. Overall thoughts on production were pretty good. Wasn't the best I've ever seen, wasn't the worst I've ever seen, but good overall. Too early to tell, but I really liked everything so far, and there wasn't any like horrendous CGI where I was like, oh, I don't like that. Like everything seemed fine. Overall thoughts on the team so far. Really like that. Like I said, we got two Rangers that like very organically seem to get their powers. Obviously, there's the big MacGuffin of like there's Dinohenge and who knows, but like they got down there. They weren't like doing this to become Power Rangers. They ended up becoming Power Rangers because they just were trying to fight bad guys. And then Zato came already being a Ranger, already establishing why he was a Ranger, fighting millions of years ago, leading this team of Knights. Like all that was awesome. And I really like how when they did the flashback of Zato's team, we already out of the gates saw that there were 6 Rangers. Like that I really appreciate, because a lot of times with Power Rangers, you'll know either from the Sentai or from the toys. Like I remember as a kid, there were a lot of things I found out through the toys that I would have never known if like they just weren't out there. So I really like how it's like there's going to be a Green Ranger, there's going to be a Black Ranger, there's going to be a Gold Ranger. We saw that team existed in the past. They're there. We kind of got some glimpses of what dinosaurs they are, but we didn't dwell on it. So hopefully there's still like mild surprise later. And the Morphin Masters, there were 6 of them who are just like, hey, here's these powers, protect the Morphin Grid, let's go. And really, really like that. And Solon too. Like Solon, I really like Solon more than I thought. Like once again, I can't, make my initial impressions have too much weight on my final impressions of. I saw pictures of Solon, I'm like, oh, another Keeper is all I thought. And no, Solon's awesome. I like Solon way better than Keeper. Solon, isn't a huge fighter, but is definitely helpful in assisting the team. And like, yeah, it was really cool. Like the team overall looks good. I'm looking forward to the team expanding to fight Void Knight. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised throughout the whole process. Actually, as I was watching, my wife was like, man, you're like really focused on this episode. Is it good? And I just like kept nodding my head like, yep, I like it. So overall thoughts on the episode, honestly, I give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know what Gazbot gave it, but I was very pleasantly surprised by this episode. I think my expectations were potentially lower than him. Not saying that I thought it was going to be terrible, but I didn't want to, get my hopes too high, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really good first episode. Didn't give away too much. There's a lot of world building that happened, but still a lot to expand upon. And I'm really excited. This season, I hope, is really good. I really enjoyed this first episode. One of the better first episodes we've had. Just kind of overall, I'm not going to say in a long time because there were a lot of good ones, especially recently, but I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the future episodes that we're getting, kind of seeing how everything ties together through the season, and hopefully we get some good payoffs that don't get spoiled straight out of the gate on what's going on. So with that, looking forward to doing these reviews again with Gazbot, although it is fun to kind of, do my take, do his take, and then see where we fall. I do miss the banter, so looking forward to doing that again with him soon. And what'd you guys think? Let us know in the comments on this video, his previous video, even double dip if you have to make sure that we see your point come across. But I'm excited. I love the dinosaur theme. The suits are cool. Story looks good, and we'll see how it goes from here. So this has been the Big Dawg, signing off to the power. See you guys later.